Hello, today I'm looking at Majjhima number 81, which is called the Ghatikara Sutta, or the translation is Ghatikara the Potter, potter as in making things in clay. So the location is among the Kosa lands, and it's believed that Buddha actually came from the Kosala region. And the people involved in the story, and in fact it's a story within a story within a story. So just briefly, there's Buddha himself, Gautama Buddha, Kassapa, beg his pardon. And now Kassapa is also a Buddha who predated the Gautama Buddha. Also Ghatikara, the potter, as mentioned. A person called Jyotipaka, who's a Brahmin student. There's also a large group of followers mentioned, and later on King Kiki, K-I-K-I, the Romanized translation. And lastly, Ananda, the Venerable Ananda, who is the main recorder of Buddha's teachings. So at the start, it says that Buddha, Gautama Buddha, left the main road and was smiling to himself. And Ananda asked why he was smiling. Buddha explained, "Once there was in this place a prosperous town, and the fully enlightened Blessed One, called Kassapa, had his monastery and followers here. Now Kassapa's chief supporter was a potter named Ghatikara, and Ghatikara had a close friend called Jyotipala, a Brahmin student." Now, just to remind you, the Brahmins were the highest ranking of the social classes at the time, so they were mainly priests and teachers and so forth. Now Ghatikara, getting back to the story, Ghatikara, the potter, said to Jyotipala, the student, "Let's go and see the Blessed One, Kassapa." To which Jyotipala replied, "What's the point in seeing an old bald-headed recluse?" Ooh, harsh words. Now it then goes on quite at length. 3 times Ghatikara, the potter, asks Jyotipala, the student, the same question, and 3 times is refused, and gives up in the end and suggests they just go down to the river to wash and bathe. But whilst bathing, Ghatikara keeps insisting they visit Kassapa, insistent to the point of touching the highborn Jyotipala on the head, which is a sort of complete no-no in that tradition, is to touch someone's head. So Jyotipala, seeing how anxious Ghatikara is, and astounded by Ghatikara's effrontery of a low-born person touching a high-born person's head, that they decide to go and visit Kassapa. So Ghatikara introduces Jyotipala to Kassapa. So it gets a bit, so the Ghatikara, Jyotipala, Kassapa, and asks that Kassapa, and so Ghatikara asks Jyotipala that Kassapa teach the Dhamma to Jyotipala, the Brahmin student, which Kassapa then did. So Kassapa's teaching the Dhamma to Jyotipala. So after departing the Dhamma teaching, Jyotipala, the Brahmin student, asks Ghatikara why he doesn't take up the life of a monk. You know, if he's so impressed with the guy, why doesn't he become a monk? So Ghatikara replies that he has to support his aged blind parents. So Jyotipala suggests that he himself become a monk. and they both return to Kassapa and receive his blessing for Jotapala to become a monk. A couple of weeks after this is still Buddha relating the story, Kassapa travelled towards Benares and took up residence in the deer park at Isipatana. Now, whilst he was there, the local king, King Kiki of Kasi, hears of Kassapa's new location, and he sets out to visit Kassapa, setting off in a number of state carriages, which sort of shows how important Kassapa was in those days. And upon arriving to where Kassapa was, Kassapa instructed, urged, roused, and asked, and I can't read my writing here. And gladdened King Kiki of Kasa with his teachings of the Dhamma. So, and the next morning, upon invitation, the king provides a large and sumptuous meal for Kassapa and his followers. And he also offers residence in Benares for Kassapa during the rains retreat. So it would seem that the rains retreat, or Vasa, is just about to start, which is governed by the times of the monsoon when the monks do not wander. So, but Kassapa declines the offer, even though, again, he's asked 3 times, and the king, Kiki, is very disappointed that Kassapa won't stay with him. Then King Kiki asks Kassapa, "Do you have a better supporter than I? Is this why you're not staying?" And Kassapa replies quite honestly, "Yes, Ghatikara the potter. He is my chief supporter." Kassapa then goes on to talk about Ghatikara the potter. Ghatikara has gone for refuge to the Buddha, the Dhamma, and the Sangha. He abstains from killing, from taking what is not given, from misconduct in sensual pleasures, from false speech, from wine, liquor, and intoxicants, which are the basis of negligence. He has unwavering confidence in the Buddha, Dhamma, and Sangha. He is free from doubts about suffering, the origin of suffering, the cessation of suffering. He eats only 1 meal a day. He observes celibacy. He is virtuous and of good character. He has laid aside gems and gold. He has given up gold and silver. He does not dig the ground for clay for his pots, or with a pick or his own hands. He only uses what is broken off from the riverbank. And when he has made the pots, he says, "Let anyone who likes set down some selected rice and beans, and let him take away whatever pot he likes." He supports his blind and aged parents. And having destroyed the 5 lower fetters, so just a reminder of that is the self-identity view, anatta, and certainty about the Dhamma, grasping at rituals, sense desire or tanga, clinging, grasping, and ill will. So those are the 5 lower fetters. And carrying on, he is one who will reappear spontaneously in the pure abodes and there attain final nibbana without ever returning. So he's a non-returner. Kassapa then goes on to cite Ghatikara's generosity, the giving of rice on alms rounds, the giving of oatmeal on alms rounds, the donation of roofing thatch from his workshop. Each time Ghatikara remembered this as a blessing and remembered the event with happiness. On hearing this, King Kiki orders 500 cartloads of rice to be dispatched to Ghatikara. But Ghatikara, upon hearing this, says he has enough, thank you. It'll be of more use to a busy person like the king. In conclusion of the story, Gautama says to Ananda, "To know all this, you think there must have been someone else present besides Jotipala, the Brahmin student, and Ghatikara, the cobbler. But no, because on this occasion I was the Brahmin student, Jotipala. This is what the Blessed One said, and the Venerable Ananda was satisfied and delighted with his words. So that's the end of Majjhima Nikaya number 81, the Ghatikara Sutta. Thanks for watching.